The story begins with a haunting memory that has shaped Bruce Wayne for decades. As a young boy, he stands at his parents' funeral, rain falling on the small gathering of mourners. The weight of loss overwhelms him and he runs, desperately seeking escape from the crushing reality of his orphaned existence. His flight leads him to stumble into a dark cave beneath Wayne Manor, where he falls among the shadows and limestone formations. In this moment of terror and vulnerability, something extraordinary happens. A massive swarm of bats erupts around him, their wings creating a vortex of darkness that somehow lifts him upward, carrying him back toward the surface and the light. This surreal experience becomes a defining moment, a metaphor for how darkness can paradoxically lead to salvation. Fast forward to the present day, 18 months after the catastrophic battle that devastated Metropolis. The world has been forever changed by the revelation that humanity is not alone in the universe. Superman, the alien being known as Kal-El, has become the most controversial figure on Earth. While some view him as a savior, others see him as an existential threat to human sovereignty and safety. The philosophical questions surrounding his presence have divided governments, intellectuals, and ordinary citizens alike. Bruce Wayne, now in his 40s, has spent 20 years operating as Batman in Gotham City. Unlike the younger, more idealistic vigilante he once was, this version of Batman has been hardened by decades of fighting crime. He has witnessed the worst of humanity and has seen how the system repeatedly fails to deliver justice. Its methods have become more brutal, his moral lines more blurred. The destruction of Metropolis serves as a catalyst that pushes him over an edge he had been approaching for years. On that fateful day 18 months ago, Bruce Wayne was in Metropolis on business when Superman and General Zod began their epic battle. He witnessed firsthand the godlike power these beings possessed and the collateral damage they could inflict. As buildings crumbled around him, as innocent people were crushed by debris, as entire city blocks were reduced to rubble, Bruce made a crucial decision. He commandeered a helicopter and flew directly into the chaos, using his resources and influence to evacuate Wayne Enterprises' employees and as many civilians as possible. The experience traumatized him in ways that 2 decades of fighting Gotham's criminals never had. He watched helplessly as beings, with the power of gods, battled above a city full of innocent people. The destruction was indiscriminate and absolute. In that moment, Bruce Wayne came to a terrifying realization about humanity's place in a universe containing such powerful alien beings. He saw Superman not as a hero, but as an unpredictable force of nature that could, intentionally or not, bring about human extinction. Meanwhile, Clark Kent continues his dual existence as both the mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet and the world's most powerful superhero. His relationship with Lois Lane has deepened, and he finds solace in their quiet moments together, away from the constant scrutiny and pressure of his public persona. However, the weight of being Superman grows heavier each day. Every action is analyzed, every decision questioned, every consequence magnified by a media eager for controversy. Clark's journalistic instincts are troubled by reports of Batman's increasingly violent methods in Gotham City. Through his investigation, he discovers that this vigilante operates outside the law with impunity, often leaving criminals branded with a bat symbol, effectively marking them for death in prison. This brand has become synonymous with a death sentence, as other inmates view it as a signal to kill the marked individual. For Clark, who believes deeply in justice and the sanctity of life, Batman's methods represent everything wrong with vigilantism taken to its extreme. The philosophical divide between these two heroes runs deeper than simple disagreement about methods. Superman represents hope, idealism, and the belief that power should be used to protect and inspire. Batman represents pragmatism, cynicism, and the belief that justice sometimes requires crossing moral boundaries that others cannot. Neither fully understands the other's perspective, and this mutual incomprehension will prove to be their greatest weakness. Into this volatile situation steps Lex Luthor, a brilliant young billionaire who has built LexCorp into one of the world's most powerful corporations. Unlike previous incarnations of the character, this Lex is young, manic, and driven by a complex psychology that blends genius intellect with deep-seated psychological trauma. His obsession with Superman stems not from jealousy or simple villainy, but from a philosophical opposition to the very concept of an all-powerful being who stands above humanity. Lex's worldview was shaped by an abusive childhood at the hands of his father, Alexander Luthor Sr. This experience taught him that power corrupts absolutely, and that those who possess ultimate power will inevitably use it to hurt others. In Superman, he sees not a benevolent protector, but a ticking time bomb waiting to become humanity's oppressor. His mission is not merely to destroy Superman, but to reveal to the world the inherent danger of placing faith in any being with godlike power. The genius of Lex's plan lies in its elegant simplicity. Rather than attempting to defeat Superman directly, which his resources and intellect suggest would be impossible, he chooses to manipulate Batman into becoming his weapon. He understands that Batman's existing suspicions and fears about Superman can be amplified and directed with the right pressure and information. More importantly, he recognizes that Batman possesses both the motivation and the resources necessary to pose a genuine threat to the Man of Steel. Lex's manipulation begins subtly, with carefully orchestrated events designed to reinforce Batman's existing beliefs about Superman's danger to humanity. He arranges for situations that will make Superman appear threatening or out of control, while simultaneously providing Batman with information and resources that will enable him to take action. The beauty of this approach is that Batman believes he is acting independently, following his own investigation and reaching his own conclusions. The first major piece of Lex's puzzle involves kryptonite, the radioactive remains of Superman's destroyed home planet. In the aftermath of General Zod's terraforming attempt, fragments of kryptonite were scattered across the Indian Ocean. These fragments represent the only known substance capable of weakening or potentially killing Superman. Lex recognizes their strategic value immediately and begins working to acquire them through official channels. He approaches Senator June Finch, a respected politician who chairs the committee investigating Superman's role in global affairs. Lex presents his request in terms of national security, arguing that humanity needs a deterrent against future Kryptonian threats. Undeterred by this setback, Lex employs his considerable resources and influence to find alternative means of acquiring the kryptonite. He corrupts Finch's subordinate, gaining access through bureaucratic manipulation rather than official approval. This demonstrates both his patience and his understanding that every system has weaknesses that can be exploited by someone with sufficient resources and intelligence. Simultaneously, Lex begins gathering information about other metahumans around the world. He has discovered that Superman is not unique, that there are other individuals with extraordinary abilities living in secret among the human population. This discovery feeds into his broader philosophy about the danger posed by beings with powers beyond human comprehension. He begins compiling files on these individuals, treating them as potential threats that must be catalogued and, if necessary, neutralized. One of these metahumans is Diana Prince, an antiquities dealer who appears to be a normal, if exceptionally beautiful and intelligent, woman. However, Lex's research has uncovered evidence that she is far older than she appears, with photographic evidence of her existence dating back to World War I. Her true identity as Wonder Woman, an Amazonian princess with godlike powers, remains hidden from the world, but not from Lex's extensive surveillance network. Bruce Wayne's investigation into LexCorp brings him into contact with Diana at a charity gala held at Lex's mansion. The event serves multiple purposes for all parties involved. For Lex, it is an opportunity to appear philanthropic while bringing together various players in his grand scheme. For Bruce, it represents a chance to infiltrate LexCorp's security and steal encrypted data that might reveal Lex's true intention. For Diana, it is a step in her own investigation into Lex's activities and his interest in metahuman individuals. The gala itself is a masterpiece of social theater, with Gotham and Metropolis elite mingling in an atmosphere of forced civility and hidden agendas. Bruce attends as the charming billionaire playboy, a persona he has perfected over decades of maintaining his secret identity. However, his true purpose is far more serious. Using sophisticated equipment hidden within his formal wear, he attempts to hack into LexCorp's mainframe and download sensitive files. His plan succeeds partially, but with an unexpected complication. Diana Prince, operating with her own agenda, steals the encrypted drive before Bruce can complete his download. This creates an immediate problem for Bruce, as the drive contains information crucial to understanding Lex's plans. However, Diana's subsequent decision to return the drive to him suggests that their goals may be more aligned than either initially realizes. The encounter between Bruce and Diana is charged with mutual recognition of hidden depth. Both are individuals living double lives. Both possess extraordinary abilities and resources, and both are investigating the same target for their own reasons. Their conversation at the gala is a careful dance of revelation and concealment, each trying to determine how much the other knows while revealing as little as possible about their own true nature. When Bruce finally decrypts the stolen files, he discovers information that fundamentally changes his understanding of the world around him. The files contain evidence of Lex's research into metahumans, including detailed dossiers on individuals with extraordinary abilities. The revelation that Superman is not unique, that there are others with godlike powers living in secret, adds a new dimension to Bruce's fears about humanity's future. Among the files, he finds the photograph of Diana from World War I, revealing her true nature and incredible longevity. He also discovers evidence of other metahumans, including Arthur Curry, Barry Allen, and Victor Stone. Each represents a different type of extraordinary ability, from Aquaman's underwater prowess to Flash's superhuman speed to Cyborg's technological integration. For Bruce, this information confirms his worst fears about the world changing in ways that traditional human institutions cannot address. However, the most disturbing discovery in the files relates to Lex's experiments with Kryptonian technology. Using biological samples from General Zod's corpse and the crashed Kryptonian scout ship, Lex has been conducting genetic research that violates every ethical boundary. His goal appears to be the creation of a weapon capable of matching Superman's power, a failsafe that could be deployed if other methods of eliminating the threat prove insufficient. The weight of these revelations triggers one of Bruce's most significant prophetic dreams, a vision of a possible future that haunts him with its implications. In this dream, he sees a world where Superman has succumbed to the corruption of absolute power, becoming the very tyrannical overlord that Lex predicted. The Earth is a wasteland, with Superman's symbol displayed on massive banners, while human resistance fighters wage a hopeless guerrilla war against their alien oppressor. In this nightmare scenario, Bruce leads a desperate band of survivors in a futile attempt to overthrow Superman's regime. The imagery is apocalyptic, with a dead and barren landscape serving as the backdrop for humanity's final struggle against extinction. Superman appears not as the hero the world once knew, but as a cold and ruthless dictator, his iconic costume modified with darker tones that reflect his moral transformation. The dream culminates with Bruce's capture by Superman's forces and a confrontation between the two former enemies. Superman's accusation that Bruce took someone important from him suggests that Lois Lane's death might have been the catalyst for his transformation into a tyrant. This detail will prove prophetic, as it foreshadows the importance of Lois in maintaining Superman's connection to his humanity. Bruce awakens from this vision to find an unexpected visitor in his underground facility. A figure appears through what seems to be a temporal portal, warning Bruce that Lois Lane is the key, and urging him to find the others before disappearing as mysteriously as he arrived. This encounter, while brief and confusing, plants seeds that will influence Bruce's later decisions about forming a team of extraordinary individuals to protect humanity. The convergence of these revelations, visions, and warnings pushes Bruce Wayne toward a decision that will define the rest of his life. He concludes that Superman represents an existential threat that must be eliminated before he can fulfill the dark potential shown in the prophetic dream. This decision transforms Batman from a vigilante fighting street crime into humanity's self-appointed guardian against alien threats. Meanwhile, Clark Kent's investigation into Batman's activities has produced its own disturbing discoveries. His interviews with victims of Batman's violence reveal a pattern of brutality that goes far beyond traditional vigilante justice. The Bat brand that Batman applies to certain criminals serves as a death sentence, marking them for execution by other inmates who view the symbol as Batman's judgment that these individuals deserve to die. This system of extrajudicial execution troubles Clark deeply, challenging his fundamental belief in redemption and the possibility of rehabilitation. As Superman, he has always sought to capture criminals alive, believing that even the worst individuals deserve the chance for justice through proper legal channels. Batman's methods represent everything that Clark fears about unchecked vigilance. Clark's articles for the Daily Planet begin to focus on Batman's activities, positioning the Gotham vigilante as a dangerous criminal who must be stopped. However, his editor Perry White is reluctant to pursue the story, recognizing that attacking Batman could be seen as Superman defending his own territory against criticism. The complexity of Clark's dual identity creates a professional conflict, as his desire to expose Batman's crimes must be balanced against maintaining his secret identity and avoiding the appearance of superhero politics. The philosophical battle between Superman and Batman plays out through their civilian identities as much as their costume personas. Clark Kent's articles criticize Batman's methods without revealing Superman's personal involvement, while Bruce Wayne uses his media connections and financial influence to shape public opinion about Superman's threat to human sovereignty. Both men are fighting a war of ideas as much as a physical conflict, each trying to convince the world that their vision of justice is correct. This ideological conflict comes to a head during a congressional hearing led by Senator Finch, designed to examine Superman's role in global affairs and establish oversight for his activities. The hearing represents humanity's attempt to assert some measure of control over a being whose power transcends national boundaries and legal jurisdiction. For Superman, it is an opportunity to demonstrate his commitment to working within human institutions and respecting humanity's right to self-determination. The hearing takes place in the United States Capitol, with Superman appearing voluntarily to answer questions about his actions and intentions. The symbolism is powerful, with the alien being subjecting himself to human authority in the heart of American democracy. Senator Finch's questions are respectful but pointed, addressing legitimate concerns about accountability and the precedent set by allowing an individual with godlike power to operate independently. However, Lex Luthor has anticipated this moment and prepared his most devastating manipulation. Using his access to advanced Kryptonian technology and his understanding of Superman's psychology, he orchestrates a bombing of the Capitol building during the hearing. The explosion kills everyone present except Superman, whose invulnerability protects him from the blast but not from the psychological trauma of being unable to prevent the tragedy. The bombing serves multiple purposes in Lex's grand design. First, it eliminates Senator Finch, who represented the most reasonable voice for oversight and compromise regarding Superman's activities. Second, it creates a public relations disaster for Superman, as many will blame him for failing to prevent the attack or even suspect his involvement. Third, it demonstrates to both Superman and the world that even his godlike powers cannot guarantee safety or prevent determined enemies from causing mass destruction. Most importantly for Lex's plan, the bombing pushes Superman into a state of despair and self-doubt that makes him vulnerable to manipulation. Superman's greatest strength has always been his moral certainty and his confidence in his ability to protect innocent people. The Capitol bombing shatters this confidence, forcing him to confront the limitations of his power and the possibility that his presence on Earth might actually increase rather than decrease human suffering. In the aftermath of the bombing, Superman enters a period of self-imposed exile, retreating from public life while he grapples with the implications of his failure. This withdrawal plays directly into Lex's hands, as it removes Superman from the board while Lex implements the final phases of his plan. During this period, Batman continues his preparations for their inevitable confrontation, using the stolen kryptonite to create weapons specifically designed to neutralize Superman's advantages. Bruce Wayne's transformation of the kryptonite into weapons represents a fascinating study in applied technology. Using Wayne Enterprises' resources and his own considerable expertise in engineering and combat systems, he develops a multi-layered approach to confronting an opponent with vastly superior physical capabilities. The centerpiece of his arsenal is a powered exoskeleton that enhances his strength and durability, while providing protection against Superman's heat vision and physical attacks. The kryptonite weapons themselves are diverse and strategic. A kryptonite grenade launcher allows Batman to weaken Superman from a distance, while aerosol kryptonite provides area denial capabilities. Most ominously, Bruce forges a kryptonite-tipped spear, a weapon designed for close combat that could potentially deliver a fatal blow to the weakened alien. Each weapon represents Bruce's understanding that he will have only one opportunity to defeat Superman, and that failure will likely result in his own death. While Batman prepares for war, Lex Luthor advances his research into Kryptonian biotechnology using General Zod's corpse and the crashed scout ship. His experiments represent a violation of every ethical principle governing scientific research, as he attempts to create life through the manipulation of alien genetic material. The Kryptonian ship's vast database provides him with advanced knowledge of genetic engineering techniques that far exceed human understanding. The creation of Doomsday represents Lex's ultimate insurance policy, a weapon of last resort, designed to eliminate Superman. Using his own genetic material combined with Zod's corpse, Lex begins the process of creating a creature specifically engineered to match or exceed Superman's power. The ethical implications of this act are staggering, as Lex is essentially playing God with alien technology to create a being whose only purpose is destruction. However, Lex's immediate plan focuses on forcing the confrontation between Batman and Superman through personal leverage rather than brute force. His kidnapping of Martha Kent represents a masterstroke of psychological manipulation, as he understands that Superman's greatest vulnerability is his love for his adoptive human family. By threatening Martha's life, Lex creates a situation where Superman must choose between his moral principles and the life of the woman who raised him. The kidnapping is carefully orchestrated to appear as though Batman is responsible, further poisoning the relationship between the two heroes. Lex's use of hired mercenaries, with connections to Batman's operations, creates circumstantial evidence that supports the deception. For Superman, this apparent targeting of his family represents an escalation that transforms their philosophical disagreement into personal warfare. Lex's simultaneous kidnapping of Lois Lane serves multiple strategic purposes. First, it provides additional leverage over Superman, as Lois represents both his professional anchor as Clark Kent and his emotional anchor as Superman. Second, it creates a situation where Superman must choose between saving different people he loves, forcing him to prioritize in a way that will haunt him regardless of his decision. Third, it positions Lois as a witness to Lex's revelation of his master plan. Superman's immediate response to save Lois demonstrates that his core heroic instincts remain intact despite his recent trauma and self-doubt. However, this rescue leads directly to the confrontation that Lex has been orchestrating throughout the entire film. The confrontation between Superman and Lex on the LexCorp building serves as the moment when all of Lex's careful manipulation is revealed. Standing amid the gleaming towers of his corporate empire, Lex finally drops his mask of eccentric philanthropy and reveals the cold, calculating intelligence that has driven his actions. His explanation of how he has manipulated both Superman and Batman demonstrates the depth of his planning and human psychology. Superman must kill Batman within 1 hour, or Martha Kent will die. This demand forces Superman to violate his most fundamental moral principle, the sanctity of life, in order to save the woman who taught him that principle. The psychological torture of this choice represents Lex's understanding that sometimes the cruelest victories are achieved not through physical force, but through moral corruption. For Superman, this ultimatum represents a crisis that goes to the heart of his identity. Throughout his life, he has defined himself by his unwillingness to take life, even when faced with the most dangerous enemies. The choice to kill Batman would not only violate this principle, but would also validate every criticism that has been made about the danger of unchecked power. However, the alternative, allowing Martha to die, would violate the equally fundamental principle of protecting innocent life. Superman's attempt to reason with Batman before their confrontation demonstrates his desperate hope that violence can be avoided through communication and understanding. He approaches Batman with honesty about Lex's manipulation, hoping that the revelation of their mutual enemy will be sufficient to end their conflict. However, Batman's rage and paranoia have progressed beyond the point where rational discussion is possible. The battle between Batman and Superman takes place in an abandoned area of Gotham City that Wayne Enterprises has been redeveloping. This location is strategically chosen by Batman for several reasons. First, it is isolated enough to minimize civilian casualties during their confrontation. Second, it is filled with buildings and infrastructure that Batman has modified with hidden weapons and traps. Third, it represents Batman's home territory, giving him psychological and tactical advantages over his opponent. The fight itself is a masterpiece of asymmetric warfare, with Batman using intelligence, preparation, and specialized equipment to overcome Superman's vast physical superiority. Batman's tactics demonstrate his understanding that a direct confrontation would be suicide, so he must rely on environmental advantages and the element of surprise. Every aspect of the battle has been carefully planned, from the kryptonite aerosol that weakens Superman to the sonic weapons that disorient him. Batman's powered exoskeleton allows him to match Superman's strength temporarily while the alien is weakened by kryptonite exposure. The visual of these two iconic figures trading devastating blows among the ruins of urban decay creates a powerful metaphor for the destructive potential of unchecked conflict between ideologies. Each punch and blast represents not just physical violence, but the collision of two fundamentally different worlds. The turning point of the battle comes not from superior tactics or weapons, but from a simple human connection that transcends their philosophical differences. When Superman, defeated and at Batman's mercy, pleads for him to save Martha, he unknowingly invokes the most traumatic and defining moment of Batman's life. The name Martha connects Bruce Wayne's origin story with Clark Kent's current crisis, revealing the shared humanity that lies beneath their superhero identities. This moment of recognition represents one of the most emotionally powerful scenes in superhero cinema. Bruce Wayne realizes that Superman, despite his alien origin and godlike powers, is motivated by the same fundamental human emotions of love and loss that have. The plea to save Martha echoes Bruce's own helpless childhood wish that someone could have saved his own mother from the violence that orphaned him. Lois Lane's arrival, an explanation of Superman's meaning, provides the context that allows Batman to understand the manipulation they have both suffered. Her revelation that Martha Kent is Superman's adoptive mother, not some romantic interest or ally, humanizes Superman in Batman's eyes in a way that no amount of philosophical discussion could achieve. This moment of clarity allows Batman to see past his paranoia and recognize Superman as an individual rather than simply as a threat. The rescue of Martha Kent by Batman serves multiple narrative functions. First, it demonstrates Batman's commitment to protecting innocent life, even when that life belongs to his former enemy's family. Second, it shows Batman's tactical capabilities when directed toward heroic rather than destructive purposes. Third, it begins the process of redemption for Batman, as he starts to return to the heroic ideals that originally motivated his crusade against crime. During the rescue operation, Batman's methods remain violent and effective, but they are now directed toward protecting rather than punishing. His use of lethal force against Martha's captors can be justified as necessary to save an innocent life, representing a more heroic application of his willingness to cross moral boundaries. The rescue demonstrates that Batman's tactical brilliance and combat effectiveness can serve noble purposes when. However, while Batman works to save Martha Kent, Lex Luthor implements his final contingency plan. The creation of Doomsday represents Lex's ultimate expression of his philosophy that power corrupts and that Superman must be destroyed regardless of the cost. Using the advanced Kryptonian technology in the scout ship, combined with his own genetic material and General Zod's corpse, Lex brings forth a creature designed for one purpose: the destruction of Superman. Doomsday's emergence from the Kryptonian ship represents a new level of threat that neither Batman nor Superman could face alone. The creature is a perversion of Kryptonian biotechnology, combining the physical capabilities of General Zod with genetic modifications designed to make it even more dangerous. Unlike Superman, who is motivated by compassion and moral principles, Doomsday is a purely destructive force with no capacity for reason or mercy. The creature's first actions establish its threat level immediately. Its massive size, incredible strength, and ability to generate energy blasts make it a match for Superman in terms of raw power. while its lack of emotional vulnerability makes it immune to the psychological tactics that have been used against the Man of Steel. Wonder Woman's arrival during the battle with Doomsday represents the emergence of the third member of what will become the DC Trinity. Her decision to reveal her true identity and join the fight demonstrates her commitment to protecting humanity, despite her desire to remain hidden. Diana Prince's transformation into Wonder Woman is visually stunning, with her iconic armor and weapons appearing as she embraces her role as an Amazonian warrior princess. The battle against Doomsday becomes a three-way coordination between Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, each contributing their unique abilities to the fight. Batman provides tactical support and analysis, using his intellect to identify weaknesses and coordinate their attacks. Superman contributes raw power and the willingness to make ultimate sacrifices. Wonder Woman brings combat experience and weapons specifically designed for fighting godlike opponents. The discovery of Doomsday's vulnerability to kryptonite provides the key to defeating the creature, but at a terrible cost. Superman's decision to wield the kryptonite spear himself, despite knowing that the proximity to kryptonite will weaken him fatally, represents the ultimate heroic sacrifice. He chooses to give his life to protect humanity, even after that same humanity had rejected and feared him. The final battle between Superman and Doomsday is both a physical and symbolic confrontation. Superman, weakened by kryptonite exposure, must overcome not only the creature's physical power, but also his own diminished capabilities. The spear thrust that kills Doomsday also delivers a fatal blow to Superman, as the creature's final death throes pierce Superman's heart. Both combatants die in the moment of victory, symbolizing the cost of heroism and the price of protecting others. Superman's death scene is handled with appropriate gravity and emotion, focusing on his final moments with Lois Lane rather than the spectacle of his demise. His last words and gestures emphasize his humanity rather than his alien nature, as he uses his fading strength to comfort the woman he loves, rather than to perform any final superhuman feat. This intimate approach to his death emphasizes the personal cost of heroism. The aftermath of Superman's death creates a power vacuum that reverberates throughout the world. The hero who had become a symbol of hope for millions is gone, leaving behind questions about who, if anyone, can fill the role he played in global affairs. His funeral becomes a massive public event, with world leaders and ordinary citizens alike mourning the loss of Earth's greatest protector. Bruce Wayne's attendance at Clark Kent's funeral represents his full acceptance of Superman's dual identity and his recognition of the man behind the cape. His conversation with Diana Prince about forming a team of metahumans to protect Earth in Superman's absence establishes the foundation for what will become the Justice League. Bruce's acknowledgement that he failed Superman demonstrates his growth as a character and his commitment to honoring Superman's legacy. The film's final scene, showing dirt rising from Clark's coffin, hints at Superman's eventual resurrection while maintaining the emotional impact of his sacrifice. This subtle indication of hope provides audiences with the promise that Superman's story will continue, while respecting the gravity of his death and its impact on the other characters. Lex Luthor's imprisonment following Superman's death provides a sense of justice for his manipulations, but his final conversation with Batman reveals that his larger agenda has been accomplished. Superman's death has indeed left Earth vulnerable to the cosmic threats that Lex predicted, setting up future conflicts that will require the emergence of new heroes. His warning about bells already ringing suggests that Superman's death has sent a signal to hostile forces throughout the universe. The film's exploration of themes like power, responsibility, fear, and redemption provides a philosophical foundation that elevates it above simple superhero spectacle. The central question of whether humanity should trust beings with godlike power remains relevant and unresolved, even after Superman's heroic sacrifice. The film suggests that these questions have no easy answers, and that the cost of safety and freedom often requires difficult. Batman's character arc from paranoid vigilante to team builder represents one of the most significant aspects of the film's narrative structure. His recognition of Superman's humanity and his commitment to honoring Superman's legacy by forming the Justice League demonstrates genuine character growth. The transformation from seeing Superman as a threat to seeing him as an inspiration provides hope for Batman's future development as a leader and mentor. Wonder Woman's introduction to the modern world and her decision to emerge from hiding establishes her as a bridge between the ancient past and the contemporary struggles of heroism. Her centuries of experience with warfare and her Amazonian training provide skills that complement Batman's tactical brilliance and Superman's raw power. Her presence suggests that the formation of the Justice League will bring together individuals with diverse. The film's visual design creates a distinctive aesthetic that sets it apart from other superhero films. The muted color palette and realistic approach to costume design ground the fantastic elements in a recognizable world while maintaining the iconic nature of these legendary characters. The cinematography emphasizes the weight and consequence of every action, treating the superhero genre with the gravity typically reserved for more serious dramatic films. The score by Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL provides emotional depth and epic scope that enhances the film's themes and character moments. The musical themes for each character reflect their individual personalities, while combining effectively during their shared scenes. Superman's theme maintains the hopeful optimism associated with the character, while incorporating darker elements that reflect his struggles and ultimate sacrifice. The action sequences are choreographed to emphasize character and consequence rather than simple spectacle. Each fight scene reveals something about the participants' motivations, abilities, or psychological state. The Batman vs. Superman battle showcases both characters' tactical approaches and moral principles, while the Doomsday fight demonstrates their willingness to work together when facing a common threat. The film's treatment of supporting characters like Lois Lane, Martha Kent, and Alfred Pennyworth grounds the superhero elements in recognizable human relationships. These characters serve not just as plot devices, but as emotional anchors that remind audiences of the human stakes involved in the larger conflicts. Their presence ensures that the philosophical and physical battles between the main characters. The exploration of media manipulation and public opinion provides contemporary relevance to the classic superhero themes. The film examines how public perception can be shaped by those with sufficient resources and understanding of mass psychology. Lex Luthor's use of media and political pressure demonstrates how even heroes with the best intentions can be undermined by sophisticated propaganda campaigns. The question of accountability for individuals with extraordinary power remains one of the film's most thought-provoking elements. The congressional hearing sequences raise legitimate concerns about oversight and democratic governance when dealing with beings whose capabilities transcend national boundaries and legal jurisdiction. The film's ending sets up future installments while providing a satisfying conclusion to its own narrative arc. Superman's sacrifice resolves the immediate threat of Doomsday, while creating the circumstances necessary for the Justice League's formation. Batman's transformation from antagonist to team leader provides character development that will inform future stories, while Wonder Woman's emergence from hiding establishes her as a major player in future content. The legacy of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice extends beyond its immediate story to influence the broader development of superhero cinema. Its serious approach to the psychological and philosophical implications of superheroism helped establish a template for more mature treatments of comic book characters. The film's willingness to explore darker themes and complex moral questions expanded the possibilities for what superhero films could accomplish. The visual effects work in creating Doomsday represents a significant achievement in bringing comic book creatures to life on screen. The design balances the need for spectacle with practical considerations of fight choreography and character interaction. The creature's evolution throughout the battle demonstrates sophisticated understanding of how to maintain visual interest during extended action sequences. The film's production design creates believable environments for both the realistic and fantastical elements of the story. Gotham City and Metropolis feel like lived-in places with their own distinct characteristics, while the Kryptonian technology appears both alien and functional. The attention to detail in creating these environments helps maintain audience engagement during the film's more exposition-heavy sequence. The costume design successfully translates iconic comic book looks into realistic cinematic equivalents. Batman's armored suit provides both visual impact and practical functionality for the fight scenes, while Superman's costume maintains the classic design elements while appearing practical for an active hero. Wonder Woman's armor strikes a balance between historical accuracy and superhero spectacle. The casting choices for the main characters prove effective. Ben Affleck's Batman captures both the character's intimidating presence and Bruce Wayne's sophisticated public persona. Henry Cavill's Superman maintains the character's essential nobility while exploring deeper psychological complexities. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman introduces the character effectively while establishing her distinct personality and capability. Jesse Eisenberg's interpretation of Lex Luthor provides a fresh take on the classic villain while maintaining the character's essential intelligence and obsession with Superman. His manic energy and psychological complexity create a version of Lex that feels contemporary while respecting the character's comic book origins. The performance successfully makes Lex threatening without relying on physical intimidation or simple evil motivation. Amy Adams' Lois Lane serves as more than just a love interest, functioning as an investigative journalist whose work drives important plot developments. Her relationship with Superman provides emotional grounding, while her professional capabilities establish her as a valuable ally rather than simply a person to be protected. The character maintains agency throughout the story while serving her narrative functions. Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth brings dry wit and tactical expertise to his support of Batman's mission. The portrayal emphasizes Alfred's role as both emotional anchor and technical advisor, showing how the character enables Batman's activities while maintaining moral perspective. The performance successfully updates the character for contemporary audiences, while respecting the essential elements of his relationship with Bruce Wayne. The film's exploration of religious and mythological themes adds depth to its examination of heroism and power. Superman's status as a godlike figure among humans raises questions about worship, faith, and the human need for higher powers. The visual references to classical religious imagery enhance these themes without becoming heavy-handed or exclusion. The political dimensions of the story acknowledge the real-world implications of superhero activities while maintaining the escapist elements that make the genre appealing. The congressional hearing sequences and media coverage feel authentic while serving the story's dramatic needs. This balance helps ground the fantastic elements in recognizable contemporary issues. The film's treatment of violence and its consequences. The destruction shown during the various battles has visible impact on the characters and the world they inhabit. This approach helps establish real stakes for the conflicts while maintaining the spectacular elements that audiences expect. The international scope of the story reflects the global nature of modern superhero narratives while maintaining focus on the central character conflicts. The various international locations and political implications help establish the worldwide stakes of the Superman question without losing narrative coherence or character focus. The film's runtime allows for extensive character development and thematic exploration while maintaining pacing appropriate for the superhero genre. The extended length accommodates the complexity of bringing together multiple iconic characters, while telling a complete story that serves as both sequel. The marketing campaign for the film successfully built anticipation while maintaining key plot secrets. The promotional materials emphasize the conflict between the title characters without revealing Lex Luthor's role in manipulating their confrontation. This approach helped preserve narrative surprises while building audience interest in seeing these legendary characters interact for the first time in live-action cinema. The film's box office performance demonstrated audience appetite for more serious treatments of superhero themes while establishing the commercial viability of the DC extended universe. The financial success provided the foundation for subsequent films featuring these characters and helped validate the approach of treating comic book properties as dramatic works, rather than simple entertainment. Critical reception of the film highlighted the ongoing debate of the appropriate tone. The mixed reviews reflected different expectations and preferences regarding how these beloved characters should be portrayed on screen. The divided critical response demonstrated the challenge of adapting iconic characters with decades of history and varied interpretations. The home video release of the Ultimate Edition provided additional context and character development that enhanced appreciation for the theatrical version. This expanded version demonstrated how editorial choices can significantly impact audience understanding and appreciation of complex narratives. The film's influence on subsequent superhero films can be seen in their increased willingness to explore serious themes and complex character psychology. The success of Batman v Superman's approach to examining the societal implications of superheroism helped establish precedent for more ambitious. Later films have built upon this foundation while developing their own distinctive approaches to similar themes. The cultural impact of Batman v Superman extends beyond cinema to influence comic book storytelling, merchandise, and fan discourse. The film's interpretation of classic characters has become part of the ongoing conversation about how these figures should be portrayed across different media. The visual design and thematic approaches have been referenced and adapted in various other works featuring these characters. The technical achievements of the film in areas like cinematography, production design, and special effects have influenced industry standards for superhero filmmaking. The realistic approach to fantastic elements and the emphasis on practical effects where possible have been emulated by subsequent production. The film's visual style has become a reference point for discussions about appropriate aesthetic approaches to comic book adaptation. The philosophical questions raised by Batman v Superman continue to resonate in contemporary discussions about power, responsibility, and governance. The film's exploration of how society should respond to individuals with extraordinary capabilities remains relevant as technology and these themes ensure that the film maintains relevance beyond its immediate entertainment value. The relationship dynamics established between Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in this film provide the foundation for their future interactions throughout the DC Extended Universe. The mutual respect and understanding they develop during their conflict and subsequent cooperation against Doomsday. The film serves as both culmination and beginning, concluding Superman's journey from controversial figure to accepted hero while launching the broader DC Extended Universe narrative. This dual function requires the story to provide satisfying resolution to existing character arcs while establishing the foundation for future adventures. The balance between these requirements influences every aspect of the film's story. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice ultimately succeeds in bringing together some of the most iconic characters in popular culture for a story that examines fundamental questions about power, justice, and heroism. While the film's serious tone and complex themes may not appeal to all audiences, its willingness to explore difficult questions and provide sophisticated character development establishes it as a significant. The movie's legacy lies not just in its spectacular action sequences or visual achievements, but in its commitment to treating classic characters as complex individuals worthy of dramatic exploration. The complexities of Superman's dual identity become even more apparent in the aftermath of his death. Clark Kent's funeral in Smallville represents not just the mourning of a beloved son and partner, but the recognition of the human connections that grounded Superman's heroic mission. The intimate gathering contrasts sharply with the massive public memorial held in Metropolis, highlighting how Superman touched lives, both as an alien savior and as an ordinary man who chose to dedicate his life to helping others. Martha Kent's presentation of Clark's engagement ring to Lois Lane carries profound emotional weight, representing not just a symbol of their love, but also the future that Clark had planned for himself beyond his role as Superman. The ring serves as a tangible reminder that even beings with godlike powers harbor the same hopes and dreams as ordinary humans. Clark's intention to propose marriage demonstrates his commitment to building a life that balanced his responsibilities as Superman with his desires as Clark Kent. The revelation of this planned proposal adds another layer to the tragedy of Superman's death, as it represents the loss of not just a hero, but a man who was ready to fully embrace his humanity through marriage and potentially family. For Lois, the ring becomes both a blessing and a burden, a reminder of what might have been while also serving as a connection to the man she loved. The timing of this revelation, coming after Clark's sacrifice, emphasizes the personal cost of heroism. Bruce Wayne's commitment to forming a team of metahumans represents a fundamental shift in his approach to protecting humanity. Throughout his career as Batman, Bruce had operated as a lone vigilante, trusting only Alfred and maintaining strict control over his mission. The decision to actively seek out and recruit other individuals with extraordinary abilities demonstrates his recognition that the threats facing Earth require a coordinated response that no single hero can provide. The files stolen from Lex Luthor provide Bruce with a roadmap for finding these potential allies, but they also reveal the scope of hidden extraordinary activity occurring around the world. Each metahuman profile represents not just a potential team member, but a person who has been living in secret, hiding their abilities from a world that might not understand or accept them. Bruce's outreach to these individuals will require not just tactical coordination, but also emotional intelligence and leadership skills he has never been required to develop. Diana Prince's decision to work with Bruce rather than return to her self-imposed exile represents a significant character development for Wonder Woman. However, Superman's sacrifice and the revelation of other metahumans in the world convince her that the time for hiding has ended. Diana's unique perspective, as someone who has witnessed human history across multiple centuries, provides the team with valuable strategic and historical context. Her experience fighting in World War I, combined with her Amazonian training and divine heritage, brings capabilities that complement Bruce's tactical brilliance and resource advantages. More importantly, her moral compass and warrior's honor provide ethical guidance that can help prevent the team from repeating Batman's descent into moral ambiguity. The formation of the Justice League represents not just a tactical alliance, but a philosophical statement about humanity's place in the universe. By bringing together individuals with extraordinary abilities to protect Earth from cosmic threats, the team acknowledges that humanity has evolved beyond the point where traditional military and political institutions can provide adequate protection. This evolution requires new forms of governance and cooperation. Lex Luthor's warning about bells ringing and approaching threats serves as both exposition for future films and a chilling reminder that Superman's death has indeed left Earth vulnerable. His imprisonment does not diminish his intellectual capabilities or his access to information about cosmic events. The suggestion that Superman's death has sent a signal to hostile forces throughout the universe establishes stakes that go far beyond terrestrial constructs. The specific nature of these approaching threats remains deliberately vague, but Lex's confidence in their arrival suggests that he has knowledge of galactic or interdimensional forces that view Earth as either a target or an obstacle. This information positions Lex as more than just a criminal mastermind, elevating him to the status of someone with genuinely cosmic awareness and influence. His continued relevance despite his imprisonment ensures that he will remain a significant factor in future conflicts. The world's reaction to Superman's death creates a complex political and social environment that the surviving heroes must navigate. Public opinion remains divided between those who view Superman as a martyr who died protecting humanity, and those who see his death as confirmation that his presence on Earth was inherently dangerous. This division complicates efforts to form an effective team of metahumans, as public support or opposition could significantly impact their operational effectiveness. Government responses to Superman's death vary by nation and political system, with some countries viewing his absence as an opportunity to assert greater sovereignty, while others recognize the increased vulnerability it creates. Intelligence agencies around the world scramble to assess the implications of losing their most powerful protector, while simultaneously attempting to identify and catalog other individuals with extraordinary abilities. This governmental attention creates additional challenges for the emerging Justice League. The media's role in shaping public perception becomes even more critical in the post-Superman world. News organizations struggle to maintain. The sensational nature of superhero activities creates pressure for increasingly dramatic coverage, which can distort public understanding of the actual threats and challenges involved in protecting humanity from cosmic-level dangers. International law faces unprecedented challenges in defining appropriate oversight and jurisdiction for individuals whose capabilities transcend national boundaries. The United Nations and other international bodies must grapple with questions about sovereignty, accountability, and cooperation when dealing with beings who can operate anywhere on Earth without regard to political borders. These legal and diplomatic complications will influence how the Justice League can operate effectively on a global scale. The scientific community's response to the revelation of multiple metahumans creates both opportunities and dangers for the emerging team. Legitimate researchers seek to understand the source and nature of extraordinary abilities, potentially leading to medical breakthroughs and technological advances. However, less scrupulous individuals may attempt to exploit or weaponize metahuman capabilities, creating new threats that the Justice League must address while protecting the privacy and safety of individuals with special abilities. Corporate interests, exemplified by LexCorp but extending to other multinational corporations, see metahuman abilities as both threats to their influence and opportunities for technological advancement. This corporate and military response creates a complex environment where the Justice League must balance cooperation with institutions that may not share their values or priorities. Religious and philosophical communities around the world struggle to interpret the implications of Superman's existence and sacrifice within their existing belief systems. Some view him as a divine messenger or modern-day savior figure, while others see his alien origin as challenging fundamental assumptions about humanity's place in creation. These theological debates influence public opinion and political policy in ways that affect how the Justice League can operate effectively. Educational institutions face the challenge of preparing future generations for a world where extraordinary abilities and cosmic threats are established. Curricula must evolve to include new understandings of physics, biology, and social sciences that account for metahuman capabilities and their impact on society. This educational evolution helps create a population better equipped to understand and support the Justice League's mission. The psychological impact of Superman's death extends beyond grief to fundamental questions about hope, security, and humanity's future. Mental health professionals report increased anxiety and depression among populations that had come to rely on Superman's protection. This psychological dimension creates additional responsibility for the Justice League, as they must not only protect humanity physically, but also provide the emotional reassurance that Superman once offered. Cultural responses to Superman's death vary significantly across different societies, with some cultures viewing his sacrifice through the lens of traditional heroic narratives, while others struggle to integrate his alien nature with their existing mythologies. These cultural differences affect how the Justice League can operate internationally, requiring sensitivity to local beliefs and customs, while maintaining operational effectiveness. Industries that had adapted to Superman's presence must readjust to his absence, while new sectors emerge to address the security vacuum his death creates. Defense contractors experience increased demand for advanced technologies, while insurance companies struggle to assess risks in a world where cosmic-level threats are established reality. Environmental concerns take on new dimensions in a post-Superman world, as his absence removes a powerful advocate for global ecological protection. His ability to address natural disasters and environmental crises quickly and effectively had become a significant factor in global environmental policy. The art and entertainment industries respond to Superman's death and the revelation of other metahumans with new forms of expression that attempt to process these unprecedented events. Literature, film, music, and visual arts explore themes of heroism, sacrifice, and humanity's relationship with beings of extraordinary power. These cultural productions help society understand and integrate these transformative events while also influencing public opinion about the emerging Justice League. Sports and competitive activities face new questions about fairness and safety when individuals with extraordinary abilities might participate. Athletic organizations must develop new rules and testing procedures to maintain competitive integrity while avoiding discrimination against individuals. These considerations extend to academic competitions, professional evaluations, and other areas where fair competition is valued. The healthcare system must adapt to treat individuals with extraordinary abilities while also protecting their privacy and preventing exploitation. Medical professionals require new training and equipment to address the unique physiological characteristics of metahumans. Research into the source and nature of extraordinary abilities creates potential medical breakthroughs, but also raises ethical questions about consent and experimentation. Transportation and infrastructure must evolve to accommodate individuals whose capabilities might exceed the design parameters of existing systems. Urban planning incorporates new considerations about the potential for superhuman conflicts and their impact on civilian populations. Emergency services develop new protocols for responding to incidents involving metahumans, whether as victims, perpetrators, or rescuers. Communication technologies become increasingly important for coordinating responses to threats that might develop rapidly and affect multiple locations simultaneously. The Justice League's effectiveness depends partly on their ability to communicate securely and efficiently across global distances while maintaining operational security. The agricultural sector faces new challenges in feeding a population that may include individuals with extraordinary metabolic requirements. Food production and distribution systems must account for the possibility that some metahumans may require specialized nutrition or larger quantities of conventional foods. These considerations affect everything from farming practices to restaurant operations. Fashion and consumer goods industries adapt to serve customers with unique. Clothing manufacturers develop new materials and designs that can accommodate superhuman strength, size variations, or unusual body configurations. This specialization creates new market segments while also raising questions about privacy and discrimination. The insurance industry struggles to assess and price risks in a world where individuals with extraordinary abilities might be involved in claims either as insurers. Traditional actuarial models prove inadequate for evaluating risks associated with superhuman conflicts or cosmic-level threats. New approaches to risk assessment and management become necessary for maintaining economic stability. Banking and financial services must address the unique needs of individuals who might live far longer than normal humans or possess abilities that could affect traditional investment strategies. Identity verification becomes more complex when dealing with individuals who might have unusual physical characteristics or who have been living under assumed identities for extended periods. Real estate markets fluctuate based on perceived safety levels and proximity to known metahuman activity. Property values reflect not just traditional factors but also considerations about potential superhuman conflicts and their impact on local communities. Zoning laws evolve to address land use questions related to extraordinary abilities and their effects on neighboring properties. Waste management and environmental cleanup face new challenges when dealing with the aftermath of superhuman conflicts or the disposal of materials related to exotic technologies. Traditional recycling and disposal methods may be inadequate for materials with unusual properties. Specialized facilities and procedures become managing. The tourism industry adapts to capitalize on public interest in locations associated with superhuman activity, while also ensuring visitor safety and respecting the privacy of individuals with extraordinary abilities. Memorial sites for Superman attract visitors from around the world, creating economic opportunities while also requiring careful management to prevent exploitation or disruption. Research institutions redirect resources to understanding these. University programs develop new curricula combining traditional sciences with metahuman studies. Academic conferences and journals emerge to share research findings while maintaining appropriate security and ethical standards. Professional licensing and certification bodies must determine how to evaluate and credential individuals whose abilities might exceed normal human capability. Medical licenses, legal certifications, and other professional credentials require new standards and testing procedures that account for the unique characteristics of metahuman practitioners. Elder care facilities must adapt to serve individuals with extraordinary abilities who may have extended lifespans or unusual medical requirements. Traditional approaches to aging and end-of-life care may not apply to metahumans whose physiology differs significantly from normal human patterns. Mental health services develop new approaches to treating individuals whose extraordinary abilities may create unique psychological challenges. Traditional therapy models may be inadequate for addressing the isolation, responsibility, and identity issues that accompany superhuman capabilities. Specialized training and resources become necessary for mental health professionals. The legal system faces fundamental challenges in prosecuting crimes involving individuals with extraordinary abilities while also protecting their rights and maintaining public safety. Traditional law enforcement methods may be inadequate for apprehending. New legal precedents must be established for handling cases that exceed normal human experience. Prison systems must develop new security measures and rehabilitation programs appropriate for individuals with extraordinary abilities. Traditional incarceration methods may be ineffective or inappropriate for metahuman offenders. alternative approaches to punishment and rehabilitation become necessary while maintaining public safety and respecting individual. International relations become more complex when some nations may have meta-human citizens, while others do not, creating potential imbalances of power and security. Diplomatic protocols must evolve to address interactions involving individuals whose capabilities transcend traditional governmental authority. Treaties and agreements require new frameworks that account for superhuman factors. Military organizations around the world reassess their strategies and capabilities in light of the reality of superhuman abilities and cosmic-level threats. Traditional defense planning proves inadequate for addressing challenges that exceed conventional military responses. New doctrines and technologies become necessary for maintaining national security while also supporting international cooperation. Intelligence agencies adapt their methods and priorities to modern ability. Traditional espionage techniques may be ineffective against individuals with superhuman senses or capabilities. New approaches to information gathering and analysis become necessary for maintaining security and supporting decision-making. The space industry gains new relevance as humanity recognizes the reality of cosmic threats and the need for enhanced space-based monitoring and defense capability. International cooperation in space becomes more critical for addressing threats that exceed any single nation's capabilities. Religious institutions grapple with theological implications of Superman's sacrifice and the revelation of other extraordinary beings among humanity. Traditional doctrines and practices may require reinterpretation in light of these unprecedented events. Pastoral care approaches must evolve to address the spiritual needs of individuals, processing the transformative evolution. Community organizations and social services adapt their programs to address the unique needs and challenges created by living in a world with metahuman inhabitants. Traditional social support systems may be inadequate for communities affected by superhuman conflicts or for individuals with extraordinary abilities seeking to integrate into society. The emergence of the Justice League from this complex social, political, and economic landscape requires careful navigation of multiple competing interests. The team must establish operational procedures that respect human institutions and sovereignty while maintaining the flexibility necessary to address cosmic-level threats that exceed traditional governmental capabilities. Bruce Wayne's wealth and resources provide significant advantages in establishing the Justice League's infrastructure and operational capabilities. Wayne Enterprises facilities can be adapted for training, research, and coordination activities. However, this private funding also creates questions about accountability and oversight that must be addressed to maintain public trust and legal compliance. Diana Prince's historical perspective and diplomatic experience prove invaluable in establishing international relationships and protocols for Justice League operations. Her knowledge of different cultures and governmental systems helps the team navigate complex political environments. Her royal status as an Amazonian princess also provides unique diplomatic credentials that can facilitate international cooperation. The recruitment of additional metahumans requires careful assessment of not just their abilities, but also their psychological readiness for team membership and their commitment to protecting humanity. Each potential team member brings their own history, motivations, and challenges that must be integrated into the team's overall. Arthur Curry's connection to the oceans and underwater civilizations provides the Justice League with capabilities and knowledge that extend far beyond terrestrial concerns. His dual heritage as both human and Atlantean creates unique diplomatic opportunities, while also presenting challenges related to divided loyalties and cultural differences. His inclusion in the team represents humanity's first formal alliance with a non-human civilization. Barry Allen's superhuman speed capabilities provide the Justice League with unprecedented mobility and rapid response options. However, his youth and relative inexperience require mentorship and support from more established team members. His scientific background and forensic expertise also contribute analytical capabilities that complement the team's tactical and strategic resources. Victor Stone's technological integration represents the fusion of human consciousness with advanced alien technology, creating capabilities that bridge organic and digital systems. His connection to global information networks provides intelligence gathering and coordination capabilities that enhance the team's operational effectiveness. However, his transformation also raises The Justice League's formation represents more than just a tactical alliance between individuals with extraordinary abilities. It symbolizes humanity's evolution into a species capable of taking responsibility for its own protection against cosmic-level threats. This evolution requires not just technological and tactical advances, but also moral and philosophical growth that enables humanity to work effectively with beings whose capabilities exceeds normal human understanding. The team's success will depend not just on their individual abilities, but on their capacity to function as a coordinated unit that combines their diverse strengths while compensating for their individual weaknesses. This coordination requires trust, communication, and shared commitment to protecting humanity even when that protection requires personal sacrifice. Superman's death serves as both inspiration and warning for the Justice League, demonstrating both the nobility of ultimate sacrifice and the cost of heroism in a universe filled with threats that exceed human comprehension. His legacy provides moral guidance while also establishing standards of heroism that the surviving team members must strive to meet. The world that the Justice League emerges to protect has been fundamentally transformed by the events surrounding Superman's death. This transformation creates both opportunities and challenges that will define not just the team's mission, but also humanity's future relationship with extraordinary abilities and cosmic forces that extend far beyond Earth's boundaries. The legacy of Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice extends beyond its immediate narrative to establish themes and character relationships that will influence all subsequent entries in the DC Extended Universe. The philosophical questions raised by the film about power, responsibility, and humanity's relationship with beings of extraordinary ability remain relevant as new heroes emerge and new threats develop. The sacrificial nature of heroism established by Superman's death creates expectations and standards that will influence how future heroes approach their responsibilities and relationships with the people they protect. The willingness to give everything, including life itself, for the protection of others becomes a defining characteristic of true heroism in this universe. The complexity of public opinion and governmental oversight explored in the film establishes ongoing challenges that the Justice League must navigate as they work to protect humanity while respecting human institutions and sovereignty. The balance between effective protection and democratic accountability remains a central tension that influences all superhero activities in this world. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice ultimately serves as both conclusion and beginning, providing closure to Superman's initial story arc while establishing the foundation for the expanded universe of heroes and threats that will follow. The film's exploration of heroism, sacrifice, and responsibility provides thematic coherence that unifies diverse characters and storylines into a cohesive narrative about humanity's evolution and its place in a universe filled with extraordinary possibilities and dangers. The symbolic resonance of Superman's death extends beyond its immediate narrative impact to encompass broader themes about sacrifice. His willingness to give his life to protect the same humanity that had rejected and feared him transforms the public perception of his mission and validates the principles that had guided his actions throughout his career as Earth's protector. The funeral arrangements for both Superman in Metropolis and Clark Kent in Smallville create a powerful dichotomy between the public mourning of a legendary hero and the private grief of those who knew him as an ordinary man struggling with extraordinary responsibilities. The dual nature of these ceremonies reflects the complexity of Superman's identity and the different ways his loss affects various segments of society. The attendance at Clark Kent's funeral by world leaders alongside his adoptive family demonstrates how his dual identity had created connections that transcended the boundaries between his superhero and civilian personas. The presence of figures from both aspects of his life creates a unique moment of unity between the public and private dimensions of his existence. The presentation of the engagement ring to Lois Lane serves as a poignant reminder of the personal dreams and aspirations that Superman had maintained despite the overwhelming demands of his heroic responsibilities. This symbol of his intention to build a conventional life with the woman he loved adds emotional weight to his sacrifice, while also highlighting the human desires that had motivated him beyond his sense of duty. The discovery of the engagement ring reveals aspects of Superman's character that had remained hidden even from those closest to him, demonstrating his commitment to maintaining hope for a normal future, despite the increasingly complex challenges he faced as Earth's protector. This private gesture of love and commitment humanizes his sacrifice, while also emphasizing the personal cost of heroism. The political ramifications of Superman's death create a power vacuum that reverberates through international relations and defense planning worldwide. Nations that had relied on Superman's intervention during crises must suddenly adapt to a world where such assistance is no longer available, forcing rapid changes in military strategy and diplomatic relationships. The economic implications of Superman's absence affect markets and industries that had adapted their operations to account for his protective presence. Insurance companies must reassess risk calculations, while defense contractors experience increased demand for technologies that might fill the security gap left by his death. The psychological impact on global populations creates widespread anxiety about vulnerability to threats that Superman had previously managed. Mental health professionals report increases in depression and anxiety disorders as people struggle to adapt to a world that feels fundamentally less secure without his protection. The religious and philosophical responses to Superman's sacrifice vary dramatically across different cultures and belief systems. Some interpret his death as a divine intervention or messianic sacrifice, while others view it as confirmation of their skepticism about reeling on. The media coverage of Superman's death and its aftermath creates new challenges for journalists attempting to maintain objectivity while reporting on events that challenge conventional understanding of reality and heroism. The scientific community's analysis of Superman's death provides new insights into Kryptonian physiology, while also raising questions about the biological mechanisms that enabled his extraordinary abilities. Research into these questions could potentially lead to medical breakthroughs, while also contributing to defense applications for future threats. The international intelligence community's response to Superman's death includes efforts to identify and monitor other individuals with extraordinary abilities who might emerge to fill the protective role he had occupied. This monitoring activity raises privacy and civil liberties concerns while also creating potential security vulnerabilities. The cultural impact of Superman's sacrifice influences artistic expression across multiple media. Literature, film, music, and visual arts explore themes of heroism, sacrifice, and hope in ways that reflect the transformative impact of his legacy. The educational implications of Superman's death require curriculum modifications to help students understand and process events that exceed traditional academic categories. History, philosophy, science, and literature programs must incorporate new perspectives that account for the reality of superhuman abilities and cosmic-level threats. The legal precedents established by cases arising from Superman's activities and death create new frameworks for addressing issues involving individuals with extraordinary abilities. Courts must develop new approaches to questions of jurisdiction, liability. The military strategic implications of Superman's death force defense planners to reconsider assumptions about threats and protective capabilities that had been built around his presence. Traditional defense doctrines prove inadequate for addressing cosmic-level threats without superhuman assistance, requiring new approaches to national and global security. The diplomatic consequences of Superman's death affect international relationships and alliance. Treaties and agreements must be modified to account for changed threat assessments and reduced protective capabilities. The technological research programs initiated in response to Superman's death focus on developing capabilities that might compensate for the loss of his protective presence. These programs create opportunities for scientific advancement, while also raising concerns about the militarization of exotic technology. The social service implications of Superman's death affect communities that had relied on his intervention during natural disasters and humanitarian crises. Emergency response systems must be enhanced to address situations that Superman had previously managed single-handedly. The environmental impact of Superman's absence creates new challenges for addressing could previously mitigated. Climate change responses and disaster preparedness programs must be enhanced to compensate for the loss of his intervention capabilities. The space exploration implications of Superman's death include recognition that Earth's vulnerability to cosmic threats has increased significantly without his protection. Space agencies accelerate programs designed to provide early warning and potential defense against extraterrestrial threats. The philosophical implications of Superman's death create ongoing debates about the nature of heroism and the appropriate relationship between humanity and beings with extraordinary abilities. These discussions influence policy decisions and cultural attitudes that will shape future relationships with metahuman individuals. The psychological analysis of Bruce Wayne's transformation from adversary to ally reveals the complex emotional journey that enabled him to overcome. His acceptance of Superman's humanity and his commitment to honoring Superman's legacy demonstrate significant character growth and moral development. The technological applications of Batman's anti-Superman research prove valuable for developing defensive systems against other potential threats, while also contributing to advances in materials science and robotics. These innovations create legitimate research benefits while also providing. The strategic implications of Batman's evolution from solo vigilante to team leader require significant adjustments in his operational methods and psychological approach to heroism. The formation of the Justice League represents not just tactical coordination, but also personal growth that enables him to work effectively with others. The Diana Prince character, development from hidden immortal to active protector, demonstrates her commitment to emerging from centuries of self-imposed. Her decision to work with Batman reflects both tactical necessity and personal growth that enables her to form meaningful relationships with contemporary heroes. The recruitment process for additional Justice League members requires careful assessment of not just their abilities, but also their psychological readiness and moral commitment to protecting humanity. Each potential team member brings unique capabilities along with personal histories that must be integrated. The training and coordination requirements for the Justice League create new challenges in developing effective teamwork among individuals with dramatically different abilities and backgrounds. The success of their mission depends on overcoming these challenges while maintaining the individual strengths that make each member valuable. The operational procedures for the Justice League must balance effectiveness against accountability while maintaining public support and governmental cooperation. These procedures require new approaches to law enforcement and international cooperation that exceed traditional institutional capabilities. The funding and resource requirements for Justice League operations create complex logistical and financial challenges that must be addressed without compromising operational security or individual team member identities. Wayne Enterprises' resources provide foundation support, while additional funding is. The intelligence gathering and analysis capabilities required for Justice League operations exceed those of most governmental agencies while operating under different legal and ethical constraints. These capabilities must be developed while respecting privacy rights and maintaining appropriate oversight. The communication and coordination systems required for Justice League operations while maintaining security against sophisticated adversaries. The public relations and media management aspects of Justice League operations require careful balance between transparency and operational security, while maintaining public support and governmental cooperation. These considerations affect operational planning and team member behavior in ways that extend beyond immediate tactical concerns. The international cooperation requirements for Justice League operations create diplomatic challenges that must. These frameworks must accommodate the global nature of cosmic threats while respecting national sovereignty and legal jurisdiction. The contingency planning requirements for Justice League operations must address scenarios ranging from individual team member incapacitation to cosmic-level threats that exceed their combined capabilities. These plans require constant updating as new threats emerge and team capabilities. The moral and ethical guidelines for Justice League operations must establish clear principles that govern team behavior, while allowing sufficient flexibility to address unprecedented situations. These guidelines must reflect the diverse backgrounds and value systems of team members while maintaining coherent mission focus. The legacy implications of Superman's death and the Justice League's formation extend far beyond immediate operational. These implications will shape future generations' understanding of heroism, sacrifice, and responsibility. The transformative impact of Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice on superhero cinema lies not just in its spectacular action sequences or visual achievements, but in its willingness to explore complex moral and philosophical questions that elevate the genre beyond simple entertainment. The film's serious treatment of themes like power, responsibility, and sacrifice creates a template for more mature approaches to comic book adaptation. The character development arcs established in Batman vs. Superman provide foundation elements that influence all subsequent entries in the DC extended universe, while also serving as complete narrative experiences in their own right. The psychological complexity and moral ambiguity explored in the film create characters who feel authentic and relatable, despite their extraordinary circumstances. The world-building elements introduced in Batman vs. Superman create a comprehensive fictional universe that can support multiple storylines and character interactions, while maintaining internal consistency and thematic coherence. The careful attention to detail in creating this universe provides the foundation for extensive future exploration and development. The technical achievements of Batman vs. Superman in areas like cinematography, special effects, and production design set new standards for superhero filmmaking, while also serving the story's thematic and emotional requirements. These technical elements enhance rather than overshadow the human drama at the film's core. The musical score and sound design of Batman vs. Superman create an auditory landscape that enhances the emotional impact of key scenes, while also establishing musical themes that can be developed in future installments. The careful integration of music with visual elements creates a comprehensive sensory experience. The casting and performance elements of Batman vs. Superman successfully bring new interpretations of iconic characters to life while respecting their essential characteristics and maintaining continuity with their comic book origins. The chemistry between actors creates believable relationships that serve the story's emotional requirements. The marketing and cultural impact of Batman vs. Superman extends beyond cinema to influence merchandise, fan community. The film's themes resonate with current events and social concerns in ways that maintain relevance beyond its entertainment value. The critical and audience reception of Batman vs. Superman reflects the ongoing evolution of expectations for superhero cinema and the diversity of opinion about appropriate approaches to adapting beloved characters. The film's ambitious scope and serious tone generate passionate responses that demonstrate cultural significance. The influence of Batman vs. Superman on subsequent superhero films can be seen in their increased willingness to explore complex themes and moral ambiguity while maintaining spectacular action and visual elements. The film's success in balancing these requirements provides a model for future productions. The enduring relevance of Batman vs. Superman lies in its exploration of timeless questions about power, responsibility, and sacrifice that remain meaningful regardless. The film's philosophical depth ensures continued interest and discussion among audiences and critics alike. The transition from Superman's death in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice to the formation of the Justice League represents a profound shift in the DC Extended Universe narrative, moving from intimate character conflict to cosmic-level threats that require unprecedented cooperation among Earth's protectors. This transition reflects not just plot progression, but also thematic evolution, from questions about individual responsibility to broader concerns about collective action and global protection. The aftermath of Superman's sacrifice creates a world fundamentally altered by both his loss and the example he set through his final act of heroism. The global mourning displayed through monuments draped in black banners, bearing his symbol, demonstrates how his death transcended political and cultural boundaries to create a unified moment of grief and reflection about humanity's place in the universe. The psychological impact of Superman's absence on Bruce Wayne transforms him from an antagonist driven by fear and paranoia into a leader inspired by the heroic example Superman. This transformation requires Bruce to confront not only his previous errors in judgment, but also his fundamental approach to protecting humanity, moving from isolation to collaboration. The emergence of Steppenwolf as a cosmic-level threat provides the catalyst that forces Earth's remaining protectors to work together despite their limited experience, with cooperation and their diverse backgrounds and motivations. The alien invasion represents a challenge that no individual hero could face alone, making teamwork not just advantageous, but absolutely essential for survival. The revelation of the Mother Boxes and their connection to ancient history expands the DC Extended Universe's scope from contemporary superhero conflicts to encompass cosmic forces and galactic politics that have influenced Earth for millennia. This expansion provides context for understanding Superman's death as part of larger cosmic events rather than simply a local tragedy. The recruitment process for the Justice League reveals the diverse ways that individuals with extraordinary abilities have chosen to use or hide their powers in a world unprepared for their existence. Each potential team member represents different approaches to the responsibility that comes with superhuman capabilities, from Barry Allen's enthusiasm to Arthur Curry's reluctance to become involved in surface world affairs. The decision to resurrect Superman using Kryptonian technology represents both a tactical necessity and moral risk that tests the team's commitment to their mission versus their respect for the natural order. This decision requires them to weigh the potential benefits of Superman's return against the dangers of using alien technology they do not fully understand. The complications arising from Superman's resurrection, including his temporary memory loss and aggressive behavior, demonstrate the risks inherent in tampering with forces beyond human comprehension. These complications nearly destroy the team before it can complete its mission, emphasizing the delicate balance. The role of Lois Lane in calming the resurrected Superman and helping him recover his memories highlights the importance of human connections in maintaining the humanity of beings with extraordinary power. Her presence serves as an anchor that prevents Superman from becoming the threat that Batman had originally feared he might become. The evolution of Superman's character through death and resurrection adds new dimensions to his heroic persona, while maintaining the essential qualities that make him an inspiration to others. His return brings not only his extraordinary abilities, but also enhanced appreciation for the life and relationships he had temporarily lost. The development of individual team member backstories during the Justice League formation process provides depth. Each character's personal journey contributes to the team's overall dynamic, while also establishing foundations for future individual adventures and character development. The integration of Wonder Woman's ancient warrior experience with the modern world's challenges creates unique perspectives on strategy and combat that prove invaluable during the team's confrontation with Steppenwolf. Her centuries of experience provide tactical knowledge, while her commitment to protecting innocent life. The technological aspects of Cyborg's integration into the team demonstrate how advanced alien technology can be adapted for heroic purposes, while also raising questions about the boundaries between organic life and technological enhancement. His unique capabilities provide the team with technological advantages, while his human consciousness maintains ethical consideration. The Flash's time manipulation abilities introduce temporal mechanics into the Justice League's tactical options, while also creating potential complications and paradoxes that must be carefully managed. His powers represent both tremendous strategic advantages and significant risks that require careful consideration and coordination. Aquaman's connection to Atlantean civilization provides the Justice League with access to underwater resources. His dual heritage creates unique opportunities for alliance building while also presenting challenges related to divided loyalties. The strategic coordination required for effective teamwork among individuals with such diverse abilities and backgrounds creates unprecedented challenges in communication, planning, and execution. The team must develop new approaches to collaboration that account for their vastly different capabilities and experiences. The moral and ethical considerations involved in Justice League operations extend beyond individual heroic actions to encompass broader questions about global intervention and the appropriate limits of power. The team must establish principles that guide their actions while remaining flexible enough to address unprecedented threats. The political implications of Justice League activities create new challenges in international relations and governmental oversight that exceed. The team's global scope requires new approaches to diplomatic cooperation and legal jurisdiction. The public perception of the Justice League reflects ongoing tensions between appreciation for protection and concerns about accountability that were established during Superman's initial appearances. The team must maintain public support while operating effectively against threats that exceed normal human understanding. The technological infrastructure required to support Justice League operations creates new requirements for secure communication, transportation, and coordination across global distances. These technological needs require significant resources, while also creating potential vulnerabilities that adversaries might exploit. The training and preparation requirements for Justice League missions exceed those needed for individual heroic activities, requiring now approach. The team must develop methods for combining their individual strengths while compensating for their weaknesses. The psychological dynamics within the Justice League create complex interpersonal relationships that must be managed alongside operational requirements. The success of their mission depends not only on their individual capabilities, but also on their ability to work together effectively under extreme pressure. The leadership structure within the Justice League reflects the evolution of Batman's character from lone vigilante to team coordinator, while also accommodating the diverse leadership experiences and perspectives of other team members. This structure must balance efficiency with democratic decision-making. The resource allocation and funding requirements for Justice League operations create ongoing challenges that must be addressed without compromising operational security or individual team. The team must develop sustainable funding sources while maintaining independence from potentially corrupting influences. The intelligence gathering and analysis capabilities required for Justice League operations exceed those of most governmental agencies while operating under different legal and ethical constraints. The team must develop information sources and analytical capabilities that support their global mission. The emergency response protocols for Justice League operations must address a wide range of potential threats, from local disasters to cosmic-level invasions. These protocols require flexibility and scalability, while maintaining effectiveness across diverse operational environments. The long-term strategic planning for Justice League activities must account for evolving threats and changing team composition while maintaining. The cultural and social impact of Justice League activities extends beyond their immediate protective functions to influence global attitudes toward heroism, cooperation, and humanity's place in the universe. The team serves as both protector and symbol, representing humanity's evolution toward greater responsibility and capability. The scientific and technological advances resulting from Justice League activities contribute to broader human knowledge, while the team must balance sharing beneficial discoveries with preventing misuse of dangerous technologies. The environmental considerations involved in Justice League operations must account for the potential ecological impact of their activities while maintaining effectiveness against threats that could cause far greater environmental damage. The team must develop environmentally responsible approaches to global protection. The educational implications of Justice League activities require new approaches to preparing future generations for a world where cosmic-level threats and superhuman abilities are established realities. The team's example influences educational priorities. The team's example influences educational priorities and curriculum development. The legal precedents established by Justice League activities create new frameworks for addressing issues involving international cooperation and extraordinary. The philosophical implications of Justice League formation address fundamental questions about collective responsibility and the appropriate response to threats that exceed traditional institutional capabilities. The team's existence represents humanity's recognition of its need to evolve beyond conventional approaches to global security. The legacy of Superman's death and resurrection within the Justice League context transforms a personal tragedy into a catalyst for global. His sacrifice becomes the foundation for unprecedented collaboration among Earth's protectors. The evolution of Batman's character from antagonist to leader within the Justice League narrative demonstrates the potential for redemption and growth, even among individuals who have made serious moral compromises. His transformation provides hope for the possibility of positive change. The emergence of Wonder Woman as a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern challenges creates new possibilities for addressing contemporary problems through the application of historical experience and timeless principles. Her role demonstrates the value of long-term perspective in short-term decision-making. The integration of younger heroes like Flash and Cyborg into the Justice League provides energy and innovation, while also creating mentorship opportunities for. This generational balance enhances the team's capabilities while ensuring continuity of heroic ideals. The Justice League's success in defeating Steppenwolf demonstrates humanity's capacity to adapt and overcome challenges that initially seem insurmountable. This victory provides confidence for addressing future threats, while also establishing precedents for effective cooperation. The ongoing development of Justice League capabilities and relationships provides foundation elements for future adventures, while also serving as a model for human cooperation in addressing global challenges. The team's continued evolution reflects broader themes about growth, adaptation, and the potential for positive change. The ultimate significance of the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice to Justice League progression lies in its demonstration that conflict can be transformed into cooperation through understanding, sacrifice, and shared commitment to protecting others. This transformation provides hope for addressing contemporary challenges through similar approaches to conflict resolution and collaborative problem solving. The resurrection of Superman through the combined power of a mother box and Barry Allen's Speed Force energy represents one of the most complex and emotionally charged sequences in the Justice League narrative. This process involves not merely returning life to Superman's body, but also confronting the philosophical and ethical implications of using alien technology to reverse death itself. The scientific principles underlying Superman's resurrection demonstrate the incredible sophistication of Kryptonian biotechnology and its integration with cosmic forces like the Speed Force that transcend conventional understanding of physics and biology. The Mother Box serves as more than just a power source, functioning as a sophisticated biological reconstruction device capable of cellular regeneration. The decision to resurrect Superman creates internal conflict within the newly formed team, as each member grapples with different aspects of the moral complexity involved in bringing back the dead. Diana's concerns about potential consequences reflect her long experience with the unpredictable nature of attempts to manipulate death, while Bruce's determination stems from his tactical assessment of their chances against Steppenwolf without Superman's assistance. The preparation process for Superman's resurrection requires careful coordination between multiple team members, each contributing unique capabilities to ensure the procedure's success. Victor Stone's technological interface with the Mother Box provides precise control over the resurrection process, while Barry Allen's Speed Force energy supplies the massive power requirements necessary to activate Kryptonian biotechnology. The location chosen for Superman's resurrection in the crashed Kryptonian scout ship provides both the necessary technological infrastructure and symbolic significance as the site where Superman first emerged as Earth's protector. The ship's Genesis chamber, previously used by General Zod for destructive purposes, now serves as the birthplace for Superman's second chance at life. The immediate aftermath of Superman's resurrection creates chaos as his restored body retains all of its superhuman capabilities, while his mind struggles to process memories and relationships that connect him to his previous existence. This disconnection between physical restoration and psychological continuity creates a dangerous situation where Superman's power operates without the moral framework that previously guided his actions. The confrontation between the resurrected Superman and the Justice League demonstrates the immense power differential that exists between Superman and other heroes, even when they work together as a coordinated team. Superman's ability to simultaneously engage multiple opponents while showing restraint sufficient to avoid seriously injuring them reveals the incredible control. Batman's contingency plan involving Lois Lane demonstrates his deep understanding of Superman's psychology and the relationships that anchor his humanity despite his alien origin. The arrival of Lois at the critical moment transforms Superman from a confused and potentially dangerous individual into someone capable of recognizing love and connection as pathways back to his true identity. The reunion between Superman and Lois Lane provides emotional grounding for his psychological recovery, while also highlighting the importance of human relationships in maintaining the moral compass of beings with extraordinary power. Their connection transcends Superman's temporary memory loss to access deeper emotional bonds that help restore his complete identity and moral framework. The return to Smallville and the Kent family home serves as a pilgrimage back to the fundamental values and experiences that shaped Superman's character throughout his development, from alien refugee to Earth's greatest protector. The familiar environment triggers memory cascades that help Superman integrate his restored physical capabilities with his ethical principles and emotional commitment. The symbolic significance of Superman's resurrection extends beyond tactical considerations to represent themes of redemption, second chances, and the triumph of hope over despair. His return from death validates the sacrifice he made while also providing renewed inspiration for both the Justice League and humanity as a whole. The tactical implications of Superman's return fundamentally alter the balance of power in the Justice League's confrontation with Steppenwolf and his parademon forces. Superman's capabilities in strength, speed, and durability provide the team with options that were previously impossible, while also serving as a powerful psychological deterrent to enemy forces. The coordination challenges created by integrating Superman back into the Justice League's operational structure require rapid adaptation of their tactical approaches and communication protocols. Superman's return necessitates new strategies that effectively utilize his unique capabilities, while maintaining roles for other team members. The psychological impact of Superman's resurrection on other Justice League members. The psychological impact of Superman's resurrection on other Justice League. For Batman, Superman's return represents validation of his faith in redemption and the possibility of correcting past mistakes through determined action. The public revelation of Superman's return creates unprecedented media attention and social response as humanity struggles to understand and interpret the implications of resurrection technology. The knowledge that death might not be permanent for beings with access to sufficiently advanced technology raises profound questions about the nature of mortality and justice. The integration of Superman's return into the broader narrative of cosmic threats and alien invasion provides context for understanding his resurrection as part of larger galactic conflicts, rather than simply a local Earth phenomenon. His return represents not just personal victory, but also strategic preparation for future confrontations with cosmic-level adversaries. The Mother Box technology demonstrated through Superman's resurrection establishes precedents for future applications of this advanced alien science in addressing various challenges facing Earth and the Justice League. The knowledge gained through this process contributes to human understanding of advanced biotechnology. The collaboration required for Superman's successful resurrection demonstrates the Justice League's capacity for coordinated action and shared decision-making despite their diverse backgrounds and perspectives. This successful cooperation provides foundation experience for more complex future missions, requiring similar levels of trust and coordination. The timing of Superman's resurrection in relation to Steppenwolf's acquisition of the final Mother Box creates dramatic tension while also establishing the cosmic stakes involved in their confrontation. Superman's return provides renewed hope at the moment when the situation appears most desperate for Earth's defenders. The global implications of Superman's return extend far beyond the immediate tactical situation to influence international relations, defense planning, and social policy in ways that will affect human civilization for generations. His resurrection confirms that technological solutions to fundamental problems like death may be possible with sufficient knowledge and resource. The personal cost of Superman's resurrection, including the trauma of experiencing death and the challenges of psychological reintegration, demonstrates that even miraculous recoveries involve significant difficulties that must be addressed through ongoing support and understanding. Superman's resilience in overcoming these challenges reflects his essential character strength. The strategic significance of Superman's resurrection in the broader context of DC extended universe mythology establishes patterns for addressing future crises involving the death or incapacitation of key heroes. The precedent of successful resurrection provides both hope and cautionary lessons for future applications of such extreme measures. The technological understanding gained through Superman's resurrection contributes to Victor Stone's ongoing development of his cybernetic capabilities and his relationship with Mother Box technology. This knowledge enhances his ability to interface with alien systems, while also providing insights into the fundamental principles Underlying advanced biotechnology. The relationship dynamics established through Superman's resurrection process strengthen bonds between. The shared experience of bringing Superman back creates emotional connections that enhance their operational effectiveness as a team. The ethical precedents established by Superman's resurrection influence future decision-making regarding the use of alien technology for humanitarian purposes, while also creating frameworks for assessing risks and benefits associated with such applications. These precedents guide both policy decisions and operational protocols. The cosmic implications of Superman's resurrection, including potential attention from galactic powers monitoring Earth's technological development, establish ongoing plot elements that will influence future confrontations and diplomatic relationships. His return may signal to cosmic observers that Earth has achieved new levels of technological capability. The integration of Superman's resurrection into Earth's historical record creates new challenges for maintaining secrecy around alien technology and superhuman activities while also providing inspiration for scientific research and technological development. The knowledge that resurrection is possible influences everything from medical research to philosophical discussions about the nature of life and death. The psychological recovery process following Superman's resurrection involves not just memory restoration, but also emotional healing from the trauma of death and the disorientation of awakening in an unfamiliar situation. His ability to recover quickly demonstrates remarkable psychological resilience, while also highlighting the importance of supportive relationships. The strategic coordination between Superman and other Justice League members in their final confrontation with Steppenwolf demonstrates effective tactical integration despite limited time for planning and preparation. Their success validates the team concept while also establishing operational precedents for future missions. The symbolic resolution achieved through Superman's successful return and the Justice League's victory over Steppenwolf provides closure for themes of redemption, sacrifice, and heroic collaboration that have driven the narrative since Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. This resolution establishes foundation elements for future stories, while providing satisfying conclusion to immediate conflict. The long-term implications of Superman's resurrection and the Justice League's formation extend beyond immediate threat response to encompass humanity's evolution toward greater technological capability and cosmic awareness. These developments position Earth as a more significant player in galactic affairs, while also creating new responsibilities and challenges for the planet's protectors. The cultural impact of Superman's resurrection influences artistic expression, religious interpretation, and philosophical discussion in ways that transform human understanding of mortality, technology, and the relationship between science and spirituality. These cultural changes will influence future generations' approaches to similar questions and challenges. The scientific applications of knowledge gained through Superman's resurrection contribute to advances in medicine, biotechnology, and materials science that benefit human civilization while also creating potential applications for both beneficial and harmful purposes. The Justice League's responsibility for managing these technological benefits adds new dimensions to their protective mission. The conclusion of the Justice League narrative through successful resurrection and tactical victory establishes operational precedents and team dynamics that will influence all future adventures while also providing satisfying resolution to the character arcs and thematic elements introduced in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. This narrative completion demonstrates the successful evolution from conflict to cooperation that defines the Justice League concept.